Welcome back to the podcast that is known for going 4-0 in their weekly predictions. Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly what we did this weekend, except it wasn't me. It was Brock.
Went 4-0 with my picks. So if you're looking for great picks and you're trying to impress all your boys and all your friends, this is the place to be.
And if you're a sports bettor and you just want to cash out every weekend, this is the place to be.
We went 4-0 last week. That's right.
Yeah. Explain what games you picked right.
So we did 4 games last week. We started with, first off, Washington against Michigan State. Both the boys picked Washington. They absolutely throttled Michigan State. Got the job done. Then we had, what was the other couple games we did? We did
Colorado State.
Colorado State game. That was a close one. I was sweating that one. I was sitting at 3-0 on the night. I picked Colorado to win. The boy picked Colorado to win. We were sweating that one out. Yeah. Colorado pulls it out. But then the two impressive ones. How many people picked Missouri over Kansas State?
I didn't. I picked Kansas State.
I don't think there was many people that did it, you know. I went with Missouri, picked the upset. They got it done on a 61-yard field goal too.
Yeah, that was legit.
That was pretty insane. Shout out to Harrison Mevis.
See the kicker?
He's the kicker. 61 yards, drilled it. Gives Missouri the upset over Kansas State.
And that was kind of a redemption because I saw a clip where last year he had like a 20-yard chip shot to tie the game against Auburn, and he totally blew it. He missed it. So it's kind of his redemption moment to go out there and drill a 61-yarder for the game winner in a college game. It's freaking awesome. So
yeah,
kudos to you. That's freaking legit.
He's up right now.
Yeah, he is definitely up, and so is Mizzou, and so are you because that's 3-0. The fourth one being another great pick.
The Florida Gators getting it done over Tennessee. That was a game that once it turned on, I was like, Florida's winning this football game.
Well, you were talking about it all week.
Swamp.
I mean, we're sitting in the office and this man's just chirping over my shoulder like, hey, Florida's going to win this weekend. Make a graphic. Hey, Florida's going to win this weekend. Tennessee's on upset alert. And I was just like, dude, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yep.
But what was the stat? Was it Tennessee has only won 2 of the last, 18 in the...
Yeah, 2, because Florida's 16-2 versus Tennessee.
In the swamp.
Or not necessarily in the swamp, but all time since
really?
2003.
Wow.
And then in the swamp, they're 0-9. Now, 0-10.
Wow.
So I put up a comment on the Twitter. And if you're not following the socials, what are you doing?
Yes.
What are you doing? Follow the socials.
I mean, we're on that 24/7 throwing up stuff. And we love to, hear you guys' responses, especially we've been getting comments, a little bit of negativity out there too. It's like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Those are the ones that hype me up though.
Yeah. We love those. So, I mean, keep firing at us. It just motivates us to, put out better content. Because if you're going to tell us we got shit content, and we're just going to listen to you and we're gonna make it better. So we appreciate those comments.
That makes me want to get in the studio more.
Yeah, exactly. So we appreciate that. And we want to see more of you guys there.
But yeah, anyway, we went down Tennessee went down to the swamp and it was one of those special nights in the swamp.
It was an electric one.
You could feel it. And I put something on Big Game Boomer's post. He puts up his weekly picks, and shout out to him. He does 40 games.
Yeah.
He goes through all.
Oh my gosh, dude. The content he puts out, it's great.
But yeah, he put out his graphic and he had Tennessee over Florida. And I put out a little response to that. And I said, Florida gets the marquee win over Tennessee. So it is live. Check the Twitter. It's on the Twitter. Yeah. Florida went out, got it done against Tennessee.
Yeah, great prediction. And it really was a marquee win for Billy Napier. I know we kind of talked about this last week. It was kind of referencing back to the Florida doc where Urban Meyer was like, hey, he had lost, I think he lost a game and then he gets booed walking into a bar or something. Yeah. And you got to feel as there's a lot of pressure on Billy Napier to be able to get that marquee win because last year was Utah. This year lost to Utah. They were kind of waiting for that big one to, gain the trust of that fan base again. And he was able to get it done against a top 11 Tennessee, I believe.
Yeah.
Top 11 Tennessee. So, I mean, a lot of momentum and a lot of faith in that team, moving forward, going into conference play, or I guess that was a conference opponent, but going into real conference play, starting week 4.
Yeah. And I think that's the game we'll start with. We'll keep it here. Florida getting the job done against Tennessee in the swamp. It was basically the game went almost as I predicted it was going to go. I was talking about, if Florida gets up early, it could be really, really difficult for Tennessee to come back. Joe Milton hasn't really been in an environment like that. And it showed, the first drive, I thought I was getting a little worried there. Tennessee gets the ball. They go right down the field. They score. They make it 7-0. And I was like, this is going to be the most important drive of the game for Florida.
How do they respond?
How do they respond? They got to get points. They go down. They get points. And I was like, all right, we're here. Because the field goal attempt on the first drive.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think it made it into the end zone.
Yeah.
It might have bounced into the end zone. But yeah, and then Florida built up that lead. The Swamp was going. And I was like, yep, it's going to be a long afternoon for Tennessee.
Especially, yeah, we know we went to the Swamp last year for the Utah game, and we know how electric that place can be and how tough it can be to, get a road victory there. Do you think it was you think Tennessee was a little bit overranked and they were kind of ranked based off of their success last year? I know that they lost a lot of key players. And so do you think that ranking was, based off of their performance last year, and this team is much different?
Absolutely. It's easy to do that. When you got a team that has a great season last year, it's easy to look into the next season and be like, okay, they're going to be good again. But they were definitely overranked. I think the number one thing we learned is Joe Milton is not Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think Hendon Hooker, he needs a little bit more respect.
Yeah.
He really single-handedly turned around that program.
Yeah. And put together, a phenomenal season.
Yeah. And, it looked like Josh Heupel kind of didn't really know how to adjust. He didn't really know how to get his team going. They found a little bit of a spark towards the end, but just a little bit too late. Wasn't going to happen for him. But I think you're right. I think Tennessee was a little bit overranked because of where they are, and I think that's why it was kind of a pick that I was comfortable making. It's because I just didn't really see the Tennessee hype, and Florida really proved it. And with that being said, I don't really see the Florida hype with them jumping in the rankings.
Yeah, they entered at 25. Right?
25. But I think they might be a little bit overranked. I don't think they're worthy of being ranked.
I was just about to ask that. Do you think that Florida is now potential contenders for the SEC?
I don't think so. I think they still got some things to work out because, the thing that Tennessee wasn't able to stop was the run.
Yeah.
Those two dogs, Montreal Johnson and Trevor Etienne, they got loose and they ran for 1 billion yards.
Yeah.
So if you can really shut down Florida's run game and make them one-dimensional and make Graham Mertz pass the ball, it's gonna be a long day for those.
Yeah,
Florida
it's
Gators.
gonna be tough for the Gators. And that's because we kind of touched on the SEC. They're in a bit of a weird situation. There was kind of a scenario that we're breaking down where it's like the SEC could be down to only one contender and maybe potentially no contenders for the playoff. And if you want to kind of explain your breakdown on that.
Yeah, look at it this way. Look at all the teams that right now have the most potential to make the playoff. You got Alabama, you got LSU, and you had Tennessee, and then like Georgia, obviously. Those are probably the four main teams. Ole Miss is kind of in there. We'll talk about Ole Miss a little bit here in a second. But Tennessee's got a loss, Alabama's got a loss, and LSU has a loss. LSU and Alabama have to play each other. Tennessee's got to play Georgia. So it's like, people are good at math. They can do the simple math. Yeah. Some of those teams are going to get a second loss almost guaranteed in the season, and that's with them being perfect everywhere else. Kind of where Ole Miss comes in this scenario. They got Alabama this week. Is that going to be a second loss for Alabama? Or is that going to be a first loss for Ole Miss?
Could be a potential elimination game for Alabama from the playoff.
Yeah, so it's the SEC is in a situation where they haven't been in a while. Usually a lot of their top teams, or at least the top three, is all undefeated. They're probably four out of their top five all have losses. Maybe I guess 3 out of their top 5, but Ole Miss or Alabama will have a loss depending on the outcome of that game this week. So the SEC is in a situation where if Georgia loses maybe to Tennessee later on in the season, and Tennessee's a 2-loss team, there's a scenario where the SEC doesn't make a team in the playoff. Yeah,
with how competitive and how much parity there is in the league. That's kind of something I've been thinking about is, normally there's a clear division between, say, the top 2 teams in the SEC or even the top 4, top 5 teams in the country. But I feel like you look down the list, there is probably a dozen teams that I feel like could go out there and win it this year.
I mean, South Carolina went into Georgia and was up at halftime 14-3.
And Florida State didn't look too great. They finished a close one to who was it?
Boston College.
Mm-hmm. And then Texas goes out there and they're almost tied at halftime against Wyoming.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy year, and I feel like it's good for the sport, It's good it's cool to have these dominating schools, these huge dynasties going out there winning every year. But it's more entertaining, in my opinion, to go go see, 12 potential fan bases, teams that could, go out there and win it all this year.
And I think the only team that's really looked for the most part pretty good is Michigan, but JJ McCarthy was throwing some picks.
Oh my gosh. He threw 3 picks this week.
Yeah. Against Bowling Green.
Yeah.
So even then you can't really say Michigan was perfect, but that kind of just goes back into the fact that, we talked about this was going to be a week, slate of college football games.
Yeah.
There's never a week slate of college football games.
No, it was, there was no ranked matchups, but it was still entertaining. I personally was up till, 12:30 Mountain Time, and I can't even imagine Eastern Time, 2:30 Eastern Time, watching the end of that Colorado State game, which, I mean, that we can transition to that right now, personally.
Let's go right into it.
Because, I mean, the fact that people are flying out, we got The Rock there, you got Lil Wayne, you got Offset, you got all these A-list celebs showing out to Boulder, Colorado, to watch a Colorado State versus Colorado game, which is normally just like whatever, But, I mean, the Deion primetime effect is there. People are watching, people are entertained. And that was an entertaining one on Saturday night is what I thought.
Yeah. And, there's still talk about that game.
Yeah.
I put something up on Twitter. I was like, only Deion Sanders can make Colorado versus Colorado State entertaining. And that was probably, for most people, that was the game of the week.
It was so entertaining.
Yeah.
I can't wait to look at the viewership, but I'm expecting that one to maybe be, top of the views again this week.
Yeah. There's something like 16 million viewers between their first 2-week games.
Yeah.
Against a ranked TCU. And then, the rivalry with Nebraska.
But I mean, that was at the time. I mean, Nebraska's not even ranked. So it's normally just not even that intriguing of a matchup.
So it's like, everyone who is even kind of somewhat competent in viewers would assume that Colorado State and Colorado would drop in viewers. But I have a feeling that it could outdo both those games.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a chance because everybody had their eyes glued to that TV.
And the hype, I think, what were they predicted? 2.5 wins on the year or something? Or
something low, yeah.
Something low. And I mean, they already have 3. They already have triple the amount of wins they did last year. So, I mean, people are intrigued. Primetime is creating some buzz in Boulder. And obviously they got a big one next week, jumping into conference play against Oregon on the road. So,
yeah, and announced today that Travis Hunter's not going to be there.
Out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any necessarily any details on his injury, but I mean, we can all admit that was a very cheap shot.
Yeah. People are discussing it like it's like it wasn't.
That's not a football play. And the fact that he remained in that game for making a non-football play is just beyond me. And then, it's so beyond me. I mean, this is arguably their best player, probably is their best player, between him and Shador. And he's out for 3 weeks because number 11 makes just some cheap shot. And there's really no retaliation except for the 15 yards. Yeah,
I will say one thing I've been seeing about that player number 11 is his family's apparently been getting a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Which is like, I get it. The play he made was not acceptable. But like, there's no need to go after him and his family.
Yeah. We do not support that type of behavior.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
so it's like, I don't support the hit. Like the hit was definitely dirty. And I think you're right. He should have been ejected. He should have been out the game, but going after him and his family, I don't know about that either.
Yeah. And it's like, let the NCAA, let the team, punish him and take care of it. It's like, we don't need any death threats, anything like that. It's way too extreme. Yeah. It's football,
Yeah. And, I think that was the weird thing about the game in general is there was points where it didn't really feel like a football game.
Oh my gosh. Physical. You could tell there was lots of chirping going on.
Lots of chirping, lots of late hits, lots of, just, it's almost like all the players took the comments that have been going back and forth like personal.
For me, with Coach Norvell, he made that comment in the interview where he's like, I've never seen so many flags thrown on a team. And I was like, dude, or you could just admit like, hey, we're false starting. We're making dumb decisions, getting these unsportsmanlike fouls. And it's like, get your team together and make some better mental decisions. And maybe there'll be less flags on you. I just didn't really like that he wasn't, taking accountability for that.
Well, and that's what Dion did. Dion did at halftime. He's like, we gotta fix all that stuff up.
Yeah.
We gotta get it right. That's on us.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Dion's so great.
Yeah. Shador had that Brady moment though. That Brady moment was great. I mean, that last drive with about a $1.30 left on the clock, and to be able to go down and convert the 2-point conversion, get it done in double OT. It was just, I mean, that was.
I don't know. I don't want to come off as like a hater, but like, I just don't think he should have had to have a Brady moment.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not.
That game should have been. I think we talked about it last week. That game should have been dusted.
Yeah,
at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Colorado State, they came out and they put up a bigger fight than I expected. So I mean, props to them. But I mean, Colorado got that dog in them. Was able to get it done.
We got to talk about that field storming though. Dude, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Well, the thing is, I want to say like you got to act like you've done it before, but I mean, they haven't done it in a while.
No,
they don't win games like that. I mean, they don't know how to act.
I mean, like we talked about the Nebraska one, we gave them a pass. Rivalry game.
You just surpassed the amount of wins that you did last year.
First win that they saw at home since Cal last year. Like, okay, we'll slide it. We'll let it slide. But like Colorado State at home, come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
And I know it's an in-state rivalry, so it's kind of like I want to give them a pass, but it's like, hey, you got some big games coming up, and you can't be storming the field on every game. And I think it'd be more appropriate if you waited for maybe a USC win.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, the whole state can storm that field.
Oh yeah, yeah. If they pull it off against USC, then
they could throw a parade for all I care.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
USC, but like when I saw the fans start coming down, I was like, no,
yeah,
no. What are we doing?
Yeah, stop them right now, please.
It's Colorado State.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but shout out to Colorado. They're 3-0. They're going to Eugene this week. That's gonna be a game of the week for sure.
Yeah, Pac-12 is gonna be firing off next week. I know we got at least 2 ranked matchups. And I think 6 across the nation, right? 5 or 6,
something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be a big week 4. I know that last week we were like, hey, take a breath. Week 3 should be chill. Happened to not be chill, so it's like you got to take a midweek breath because week 4 is about to be crazy.
Yeah, we're about to talk about every single game across the nation because it's a bunch of ranked matchups everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Should we talk about a little about Mizzou?
Yeah, Missouri.
Mizzou getting it done against K-State.
That was
obviously 61-yarder to win it.
And it
big time.
And it looked good. Like maybe from a little bit farther back.
Yeah, maybe like 63, 65.
So he put his leg through that one.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, what does this mean for K-State in the Big 12?
Yeah, this is probably the game that has the most immediate implications because they dropped out of the rankings. I don't want to be that guy, but there is currently 2 teams in the current Big 12 that are ranked.
Yeah.
That is Texas and Oklahoma. Unfortunately, Texas and Oklahoma will not play in the Big 12 next year.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry. You got 2 more that are ranked. You got Utah and you got Colorado.
Yeah.
So
coming in next year.
For the current time being, I think Kansas State can, it's going to hurt a little bit losing I don't know what to call this game because I thought it was like a rivalry game, but I keep seeing that Kansas and Missouri is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But like people are upset. People are mad.
About what?
Kansas State fans. Just about like losing that game.
Oh, yeah.
Like they are upset. So I'm starting to think maybe that's a bigger rivalry than maybe we're giving it credit for.
Yeah.
But like their fans are upset. But
they're fired up.
I think that Kansas State, you're fine. Big 12 is obviously not the conference this year. Probably not as great. If you go out and upset maybe an Oklahoma or a Texas, I think everything's still to play for.
Yeah.
So, Kansas State should be able to take advantage of what looks like a weaker schedule. I remember I was looking at it earlier. I don't think they play. I don't think they play both Texas and Oklahoma. I think they only play one of them. I'd have to check on that one. But everything's still wide open for Kansas State. Mm-hmm. So, it sucks losing to a rival, dropping out of the top 25. But in the end, I think you're going to be good.
Yeah,
you'll figure it out.
Fine. For Mizzou though, big win,
huge win,
big win. It was on the road.
No, they got it at home.
Oh, they got it at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, big win. We know that we talked about how last year Georgia kind of struggled to play there,
mm-hmm.
In that first half. And obviously they were able to get it done against a top 15 opponent. So, I mean, pretty marquee win.
I think their coach was chirping their fans after that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, saying that Someone with the attendance. He wasn't happy though.
Oh, he was saying like not enough people showed out.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
Interesting.
But yeah, Missouri's in that SEC East that is unfortunately controlled by Georgia.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it kind of looks open. You know, Tennessee just lost. You know, Florida, we don't really know how good Florida actually is. I think Arkansas is in that division. They lost over the weekend. So I don't know. I would be surprised if Missouri did anything too special. I think this is just kind of one of those like, you know, great job.
Yeah, great job. You know, great job. Okay, let's see you do it again.
Let's see you win 6 games.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But for the most part, great win by Missouri. You know, I would be absolutely ecstatic if my kicker drilled them from 60.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'd be hyped. Like especially after we mentioned redemption from last year against Auburn. So like,
congrats, Harrison. You're in. You just punched your ticket to the NFL.
Yeah,
you're going to the league.
He's got that clutch factor. So yeah, it was a big win for that team. Let's talk about Washington. Number 8 Washington pounded Michigan State. I know we both predicted them to go in there and get the dub, but what do you think? What they did was surprising?
Not at all. I think the thing that is surprising is Washington isn't talked about like one of the elites of college football this year. Like that team is good.
Oh yeah,
that team is really good.
Michael Penix Jr. leading the country in passing yards thus far.
Yeah, I think he's also leading the Heisman right now.
Yeah,
you know, Caleb's been balling too, but what Michael Penix has done, especially when he was at Indiana, nobody expected him to turn into what Kalen DeBoer's turned him into.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Washington really went in there, and I thought there was a potential that Michigan State makes it a tough game for them. That was obviously before the Mel Tucker stuff. But, yeah. You know, once they walked in and got the ball, it was smooth sailing.
Yeah. And it was probably about an hour before we started filming this that he was officially announced let go from the team.
Yeah. It sounds like they're going to get rid of him. So,
yeah. It's just such an unfortunate situation. You just got to think about the student athletes who obviously got recruited to play for him, went there to play for him. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like not a lot of people think about, you know, the repercussions for the actual players when something like that happens.
Well, yeah, there's so many people involved. Like, you know, you feel for the victims, you feel for all the staff, the people that know them, you know, because that's gotta be a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
You know, a guy that you think is a really good dude is, you know, he's got some things that he's doing that isn't necessarily that great, but yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of implications about Michigan State. I think this turns into a really important hire for them.
Yeah.
I think they really got to get somebody who can, you know, steady the ship, get everything back in order, and really get Michigan State back to what they were. Because if we're being honest, Michigan State is one of the bigger programs in the nation.
Yeah.
So the fact that they have fallen off this far is it's concerning.
Yeah, it is concerning. Sure. It's disappointing, and you know, we hope to see him back, jump back, bounce back. But do you think it'll be an internal hire? I'm assuming.
That's a tough one. You know, it really is a tough one. I think they will definitely give them the opportunity. I think there will be a lot of people that get the opportunity, but I think in a situation like this, it's almost kind of like you just got to clean house.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get rid of all that bad kind of vibes.
Yeah.
That's in the program.
Just kind of start fresh,
bring in somebody new, have him hire their own new staff and kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I can see that happening.
You know, I think for the most part, we learned that this Washington team is for real.
Yeah, they're legit contenders, legitimate contenders for the playoff. If we're being honest,
I think
not just the Pac-12 championship, but I think if they drop a game and they go out there and they win the Pac-12 championship, I think that they should definitely be included in that talk.
Well, we talked about it in the preview. You know, they were a game away from being in the Pac-12 championship and potentially in the playoff.
Yeah, last year
they beat Arizona State on the road. They go to the Pac-12 championship. You know, say they win that, they're in the playoff.
Definitely playoff implications. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, they are probably the most impressive team for me right now. I knew Florida State was going to be good. They really hit the portal and really fixed a lot of their needs. So that's not as surprising to me. But Washington was a team that I thought could be maybe the third best in the Pac-12. I think they're looking like the cream of the crop right now in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was a big win for them and just a great weekend of football, honestly. Yeah. I know we expected nothing to be too crazy, but I mean, besides I don't know. It was just great. It was awesome. And I think college football is like almost at its peak right now. I feel like a lot of eyes are on the screen watching the sport.
Yeah, we're 1/4 of the way through the season.
Yeah,
which is crazy to even say.
No, it's crazy.
But
I wanted to slow down a little.
We're really getting a good idea of what these teams are looking like, kind of what we're dealing with on a weekly basis.
Yeah, across the field.
Kind of able to start creating those predictions a little bit more. But we're talking about a week with 2 upsets. Tennessee lost and Kansas State lost.
Yeah,
we're talking about you brought up earlier, Alabama struggled. Yeah, Georgia struggled. Texas struggled. Florida State struggled. Colorado struggled for the most part. And that was on a week that was, it was supposed to be smooth sailing.
Yeah. Smooth sailing. Everyone gets the job done. So, I mean, yeah, it was pretty crazy. You got any other topics to discuss? We got anything up there?
Yeah, we got a couple others that we could potentially go through. You want to talk about Alabama and their quarterback troubles?
How much time we got?
I'd say.
How much time we got? It might be a long episode.
Yeah, it might be an episode in itself.
Yeah, Tyler Buckner. I don't know if he's the answer.
Well, we talked about it, I want to say it was one of our first episodes that we did this year about bringing in a QB in the spring tells me that you're not confident with what you got.
Yeah.
And Tyler Buckner did not make me comfortable with what we had for Alabama.
Yeah.
So, he gets the start obviously against USF, a team that was, I want to say they were 1-11 last year. Oof. I want to say they're the team that nobody talked about because Colorado was just terrible.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
For them to play like they did on the weekend was very concerning.
Very concerning. And was Jalen Milroe, was he announced starter for this upcoming week against Ole Miss?
Yeah, I think he's the starter. I don't really understand why he was benched in the first part.
Yeah.
People were a lot more critical of his performance against Texas than I was.
Oh, yeah.
But, I think
he's definitely looking a lot better now.
Yeah, I think Nick Saban saw his other 2 QBs and he's like, you know what?
Jalen's our guy, whatever, I guess, dude. I bet Nick Saban's he's about to have some gray hair here soon. Well, if his team keeps playing, like that against South Florida.
He's in a scenario he's never been in before. He's looking at his quarterback room. You remember that quarterback room with Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Who is it? Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, and
was it Tua? Tua.
And now he's got a quarterback room of Tyler Buckner, Tyson, and Jalen Milroe.
Definitely not the same. Yeah, it's not looking too great.
Definitely not 3 NFL caliber
over
QBs.
in Tuscaloosa, but they play at home or on the road.
I think it's home against Ole Miss.
Home against Ole Miss. And it was crazy. We mentioned it last week. It was like, how weird is it that Alabama went to South Florida? Like, how did they make that happen? Yeah. But yeah, they were able to sneak away with the dub against them. And then should we talk about Colorado? But
yeah,
we kind of have to.
Yeah, I think we'll finish with Colorado.
Yeah.
We'll talk. This will be our final topic of the day, but Colorado 3-0. No one expected them to be here going into Pac-12 play. And I think this is where it all gets a little foggy for them.
A little foggy.
A little bit.
It's just going to be rough. Travis Hunter out for the next 3 weeks, and they got some daunting ones coming up.
Yep.
They got Oregon and Eugene this upcoming weekend.
Yep.
Then they got the Trojans the following week, that one at home. But, we're talking about probably their best player, 2-way player. He's out for 3 weeks. So, that's obviously going to hurt them.
Yeah, you can say their best offensive and defensive player is out.
Yeah, seriously.
So it's like,
with one guy.
Yeah.
With one guy. So, yeah, I think that, especially after seeing how much of an impact he had on those first 2 weeks, it was just, I don't know. You just hate to see it.
Yeah, and, I was looking through their schedule. And they really play everybody. I think the only team they don't play is Oregon State.
Really?
So they got Utah. They got Oregon and USC, like you mentioned. They play Wazoo. They play UCLA. And they play Washington.
Oh, they do?
So.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they play everybody.
That's pretty much, that's everybody.
So.
Yeah, it might be rough. You think they'll fizzle out? You think they're still gonna have to really grind out to be able to come bowl eligible?
Bowl eligible, I think they will probably be good. But I'm thinking, they got Oregon this week. I think that's when the hype starts slowing down a little bit.
You think they're gonna give them the work?
Oregon is 20.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
20.5.
Yeah. And I think I saw that it was that was the case even before Travis Hunter was injured.
Well, I texted you last week and I was like, did you know that Oregon is 14-point favorites?
It was 14
against Colorado? And then you're like, yeah, I knew that. I was like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I looked at the line today. It is 20.5.
20.5. And it's crazy to think that Travis Hunter has like a 6 point, at least a 6 point spread, impact on a line.
Yeah. And like, I don't think it's crazy to say that Oregon covers that line.
Yeah.
Like, I see a world where they win, by 21. So
yeah,
I think for a lot of casual college football fans, I think you're really about to learn that Colorado isn't that team.
Hey, I mean, you doubt Dion. He goes out there, he could really just shock the world. It's his chance to do it again. I mean, they were 20.5 point favorites or underdogs going into week
TCU,
1.
right? Yeah.
This is our chance to go out and shock the world again. So should still be an enticing matchup.
I think I'm pretty comfortable with this one.
With the cover?
Not necessarily the cover, but I think Oregon's winning.
Yeah.
I think Oregon's winning. I think it's going to be a pretty big win. I'm not saying it's going to be plus 20.5.
Yeah.
I think they win by 17 though.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see how this team responds. They've just been riding this high. I mean, 3-0, the whole country's watching them. They got A-list celebs pulling up to their game. And I kind of thought maybe there was a little bit distraction, around campus, going into a Colorado State team who maybe they overlooked.
Well, I saw someone bring this up about, Dion and kind of his persona is, it's personal.
Yeah.
Is there a point where it kind of becomes a little bit too much?
What do you mean?
Where you're kind of like, if every week that's kind of the thing that's hyping you up to go play football games, it's like, oh, they said something. It's personal.
Yeah.
It's like, how long can you really ride that?
Or what if someone goes out there and just doesn't say anything?
Because like,
then they got to make something up to have some motivation.
Because like technically Dan Lanning, Oregon's head coach, has already put, fuel on that fire.
I saw that.
It was way earlier in the year when Colorado left for the Big 12. He was kind of like, no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, what do they want?
Yeah.
Like, what have they done? They haven't done anything.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's like, it's not really a direct shot at the team this year because it's mostly new players, new staff.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if you're talking about buffs and if you want to get personal there, then it's definitely as personal.
But, we'll preview that game for sure this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think it really gets real for Colorado really quickly. They got USC the week after that. And, like I said, they play all the best teams. The Pac-12 is at Oregon State.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, if Oregon or if Colorado wins this weekend, I'll go buy some Dion shades. You deal with me? Yeah.
I have to, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it right now. If Colorado wins this weekend, I will order them right after the game.
Did you see how much sales he's gotten on those things?
Like over $1 million or something.
Well, I saw something today that it's like 4.5 million now.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So
the money's there, the buzz is there, the eyes are there, everyone's watching, but will they continue this momentum going into conference play? We'll see.
I'm gonna say it right now, Colorado is the most glorious 7-5 team of all time.
The most watched 7-5 team. Okay, we're definitely going to clip crazy. That. We're going to clip that. We're going to clip that. He's going to be flooded with DMs.
Bookmark it. Do whatever you want with it. Colorado finished 7-5.
Yeah, everyone's going to flood your DMs after that one. But I think that's going to wrap things up for our episode today. We're talking about week 3 recap. Excited for another week of college football, and of course, your boys are here to cover it. Brock and Brennan. Make sure to follow the socials. The Play Action Pod on Twitter, Instagram. What else we got? TikTok, everything. We're everywhere. We're active on those. Make sure you follow those. Give us comments, everything like that. And we'll see you guys next week.